Hey, welcome to the Daily SIDW. I am your fearless leader, Patrick Owenby, here on my porch, hanging out. It's really humid outside, but hey, it's the way Tennessee is in the summer. So listen, I want to reiterate some of the rules to you guys. First of all, this needs to be a civil discussion group, okay? We want to talk about ideas. We want to talk about policies. We want to talk about individuals. So if you don't like someone, that's not an argument against what they're doing. If I post something about a public figure and your response to that public figure is, "Oh, well, he's an idiot." That's not a response that I'm looking for in this group. The response needs to be, "I think he's an idiot because blah, 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 blah." And then I need you to explain that. And it's okay to call people an idiot, okay? Don't call other members idiots, but if you want to call a politician an idiot, that's okay. But explain why. You know, that's what we're trying to get at here. We want to debate ideas, and we want to debate policies. We don't want to ascribe motives to other people. So today, on the Daily SIDW, I want to talk about immigration. Immigration, of course, is a major policy topic in the news every day. First of all, I want to address, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. I want to address her allegations that there are concentration camps on the border that the Border Patrol and ICE use to house detainees, refugees, whoever. So, by the dictionary definition of the word concentration camp, they're concentration camps. However, that word has such a historically significant meaning in the context of the Nazis and their, working people to death camps and straight up death camps. Now, there was a difference between concentration camps and death camps. But Vad Yashem, the Holocaust, the World Holocaust Museum in Israel, tweeted out that AOC was wrong about that. That context was very poor, and that she should apologize. Of course, she hasn't. She's part of the squad, and the squad doesn't apologize. I think the squad and Trump are the mirror images of each other. They're, the squad is the left-wing version of Trump, and Trump is the right-wing version of the squad. They don't apologize. They don't think they're wrong, even though they use anti-Semitic phrases and use old anti-Semitic tropes to discuss Jews and Israel. That's really off topic. So I want to get back to immigration. So it's really important, at least in my opinion, that the United States have some barrier between itself and Mexico. I would also say if there was a problem with illegal immigration from Canada into the United States, I would say that we need to have a barrier there, a physical barrier. This is not because people are brown. This is because a country has to have sovereign borders. They have to have well-guarded, safe borders that people can cross in an orderly fashion. This is because a country, has every right, a sovereign right. I keep using that word sovereign. When I say sovereign, I mean, inside its own borders, the people of that country have the right to determine for themselves how they want their immigration and their country and the rules of their country to go. The UN doesn't have any business telling the United States how it should run its borders or its immigration policy. Mexico has no business telling the United States. Central America, no one has any business telling the United States how to run immigration policy but the citizens of the United States through their elected representatives in Congress and in the White House. Now, that being said, we have a sovereign right to decide who comes and who does not come into our country. Now, we can debate all day long the merits of having various different types of people into the country. But regardless of that, we have to know who's here. It's important because for security reasons, economic reasons, there's a myriad reasons why we need to know who's here. A massive influx of unskilled labor into the country depresses wages, because if you have people coming in who are going to take jobs at lower wages, then a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, not in this case, because if the tide is coming in and the tide is way down here in the low wage sector, it's not going to raise up. People are going to take jobs that are low, or those people are coming in are going to take jobs that are low paying. Now, that's not to say there's not skilled labor in other countries. Of course there is. And that's why we need a merit-based immigration system. We need these industries and these companies to report to the government at regular intervals what type of individuals they need. Then the government can set yearly or quarterly goals for allowing a certain number of people in based upon what we need from a work perspective. That just makes total sense to me. Why would we allow people here who don't bring anything to the table? This is our country. It's not Mexico, or it's not Central America, or it's not South America. I'm not being xenophobic when I say that we have a right to determine who comes and who goes. Now, I'm also, I don't want to say I'm completely against, chain migration either, but I think it needs to be limited to direct family members or nuclear family members. We don't need to be, my cousin comes, or my aunt comes, or my grandson comes. No, we have to limit it to a nuclear family, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters. That's it. Nuclear family. Children, obviously. The barrier is important because it's not going to let people just pop across the border whenever they want. And it's really key to not let that happen, especially if something's coming down the road, Medicare for all. Medicare for all and open borders would be an absolute economic disaster for the United States, because then we would have healthcare tourism. And when I say healthcare tourism, I mean people would fly to the United States to get free care, because we couldn't offer or we'd have to offer free care to them. People would hop across the border from Mexico or in other countries because, in Mexico they'd have to pay for it, but in the United States they wouldn't. So why wouldn't they come, especially if we have an open border? So that's why we have to close these borders off, make sure everybody's coming through the legal ports of entry, and that's why, again, another reason, going to transition over to the next important point, and that's Donald Trump's recent decision to effectively end asylum for Central Americans. What Donald Trump's done is very intelligent, I feel like, and that's saying you can't pass through another country to come to ours if you haven't already requested asylum in the countries you pass through. And that just makes insane amount of sense to me. If you're fleeing from a Central American country, why can't you go stay in Mexico? You have to go through there. Mexico has a pretty secure border. They have troops on both borders now. They got, through the deal that they made with Trump, they have 15,000 people on the border with us, and they have several thousand on the border with Central America as well. So I want to praise the president in this video for doing this, making this move, because asylum's becoming abused. We have to make sure that there's a legitimate process for asylum. You have to request asylum. First of all, you should request asylum in your home country, in the embassy of the United States in your home country. Then if you need to come to the United States, you come through Mexico, you request asylum in Mexico. If Mexico denies you, then you can continue on. But that's a process you have to go through, and I think that's going to be very helpful to our migration crisis that we're having at the border. And I also want to say that when Democrats or the left, and I'm not attacking them, I'm giving my opinion, when they, use the rhetoric they use, like concentration camps, and they say human rights violations and people dying. In the first 2 years of the Trump administration, there were less deaths at the border than in the previous 2 years, other than the last 2 years of the Obama administration. It's verifiable data. There was a national review today. So I want you guys to take a look at that and see what you think. This is an extremely important issue. I kind of went a little hard left with my UBI post the other day, but I'm trying to, look outside the box for solutions when this AI and automation crisis comes. I don't feel like saying that, oh, well, that's just the way the old cookie crumbles, is the way to handle any of the situation. It's not the way to handle immigration. It's not the way to handle, an economic crisis. We've done a lot of stupid things. We've spent too much money. We need to stop spending money. I don't disagree with that a bit. But that's not going to save people's jobs. It's not. So we have to find a way to do all those things. And we can. The United States is a country that's so powerful and so amazing that we've done better things than anybody in the history of the world. And we must continue. The United States is a beacon for light and a beacon for hope. Thank you guys for listening. I hope I haven't rambled on too long. You guys have a great rest of your night.